Hi everyone, welcome on board to Helper.tv.
It is very important that you listen from the beginning to the end. Very important. Like, share this video, and if you're just coming across this channel for the first time or you have not subscribed, just tap on the subscription button. Very important, so you don't miss out on breaking news. Now, Peter Obi, Labour Party, they've gone to the court and they said their mandate have been stolen. Was this election free and fair? Another question to ask is this: have there been any election in Nigeria that is free and fair? What makes this particular election different from others? Well, we know there was an introduction of beavers and how collation was supposed to be done. But there are certain things, lacuna, that people did not look into. But I don't want to bore you. You're about to hear something that will blow your mind. Peter Obi should wait till 2027. Like, seriously? Well, I want you to hear, and I'll be here with you. We'll analyze it, we'll talk about it. Let's get into it.
Convinced that last election was one of the best elections ever organized in Nigeria. This is so because notwithstanding some of the pockets of violence, which is normal in a developing nation like ours, the fact is the election was one of the best in contemporary Nigeria.
What are the indices that gives you that?
Fake PVC that were being used over the years. How come the APC, the ruling party, didn't win in their stronghold? How come APC lost Lagos? How come some APC governors of the ruling party didn't win? How come top members of the APC lost their ward? Because some people didn't just win, you now want to paint everybody black? There's no doubt there are pockets of violence. But this election opened our eyes to the fraudulent practices in quite a number of states of the Federation. We are able to see the reality of the numbers. In fact, the guy who invented the beavers, won Nwafo, so he deserves a National Merit Award.
Oh, Chidi Nwafo
he deserves a National Merit Award. How come some governors who aspired to be senators lost out? How come they lost out in their own state? So when people make argument, they make the argument from their from selfish point of view. The fact that you didn't win should not make you to now condemn a whole system. I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but this election that brought in Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shetima happens to be one of the best in contemporary Nigeria today.
Is that so? Is that one of the reason? Because people lost?
The people are condemning it because they lost, and there's this assumption, some people sleep or they're in their comfort zone and do calculation because you see some 5,000, 3,000 people on the street, and you see somebody has won the election. Do you know how big Nigeria is? Quite a number of Nigerians do not know the size. They don't know the sentiment, the norms, the value system of Nigeria. They do not know how complicated this country is. Now, until when you move around the nooks and corners of this nation, before you appreciate the nation called Nigeria. So some people judge Nigeria within their state. Some of people look at Nigeria within their geopolitical zone, and they assume that is Nigeria. Nigeria is a huge country. And to win a presidential election, indeed to win any national election, you need to go around the 36 states, not just the 36 state capitals. You need to network and penetrate the local government, cutting the barriers of the norms and values.
But Senator, does that validate your point that this election was free and fair? You gave one reason, and for those who believe that the election wasn't free and fair, they have several reasons to defend their point that this election was fraudulent and this election was deep in a whole lot of manipulations, and they will give you reasons that the votes that came out in the end are not the exact figures that of the elections.
That is not enough to condemn the system. What I'm saying is this: this election was free, was fair. Even in the US, that is not to say there wouldn't be some fast guy who want to touch the figures, but that notwithstanding, when you look at it holistically, you come to a conclusion. Is this election good enough to go? Very good enough to go. And when you talk about someone winning election, presidential election, you look at the personality. You see, becoming the president of Nigeria is not a child's play. It's not what you wake up in a day or two. You need to have built the network, the relationship across the norms and value, across the barriers of Nigeria. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not a man of today. He's a man who over the decades have been building relationship, networking, touching lives across the divide, north, south, east, west. Asiwaju is not a man of today. He didn't win the election today. Asiwaju has been a man who has built people. I'm one of the products of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But if I don't tell you, you don't know. So Asiwaju is a man who believes in talent. He has raised people. He has trained people. He has supported young generation. At that time, he was supporting people like us on 20 years, 25 years ago when he was the governor. So today, if you see me campaigning for Asiwaju, you think it's a matter of today. Asiwaju has been a large army of people in the southeast, in the west, in the north, in the east. So to become a president, it's not by getting 1,000 people on the streets and say you are popular. No, it's about building solid relationship with people and people getting to know what you stand for, that you believe in the future of the younger ones and you empower them and you encourage them. Those younger ones of those yesteryears, they are the adults of today who are cutting the show. So Asiwaju didn't start today.
Why is this growing and nagging agitation against the victory of Bola Tinubu by the opposition?
It is a normal thing you expect, because when people have a kind of fixation, a kind of believe that they have won the election, and when some people who do not know politics sit in their comfort zones and they are predicting figures, election is not what you win in a month or 2 or 3 of campaign. Election is what you prepare for over the years. You build relationship, you build bridges across. Some of the people who are talking today, they forget the fact that Nigeria is such a complex nation. They are capitalizing on some sentiment. And what's the sentiment? The sentiment of the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shettima are both Muslim. But notwithstanding, there are Christians who have benefited, who knew these people over the years. So the anticipation of some people was, there'll be total vote of these Christians against Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shettima. It is not so, because these are people who have been around over the years, and these are people who have built bridges. So people had that assumption that, this election we're going to win.
But
unfortunately, many Christians voted for Asiwaju.
The question of division, that the outcome of the election has left, and so those who have said, look, Nigeria may not have been, has not been this divided, and there's a need for healing and reconciliation. What do you say to that?
There's no doubt that once there's an election, there'll be a kind of sentiment and division. But over the 3 years, over the months, people are almost getting settled over the result. Some people assume what they anticipated was not the result they got. So you can understand the human reaction.
Do you have this feeling that there is a lot of anger in the land? That Nigerians are upset? That many people feel out of the equation of the nation called Nigeria?
See, I speak my mind at any point in time. And let me tell you the truth. I hold the view that this election was free, to a large extent, better than previous election. And those who are feeling bitter, they just have to wait for the next election. The fact of the matter is, this guy, the two, Asiwaju and Shettima, they're just the popular ones, contestants, and they won. They do not have baggages and issues that will warrant people not to believe them. Asiwaju has built his reputation, his image over the years. He has built men. He has a track record of service. Shettima is one of the best brains I have met in the Senate. I'm a third-time senator. And I can tell you that Shettima is one of the best, highly cerebral. Okay? And when you meet such people, you cannot but give in. So those who are upset for now, we can understand.
No, I'm not even talking about opposition party versus the party that won. I'm talking about the average Nigerians. And I'm asking, as a senator, do you have that sense that there is a lot of anger in the land? A lot of people feel that they are calculated out of the national calculation of Nigeria.
Maybe the privileged, some privileged class of people who had their business calculation with the opposition. Don't forget, Nigeria is such a complex society. When you see some people taking position, they're doing that.
You don't think that poverty is prevalent?
Poverty is part of it.
You don't think that there are reasons, economic and moral reasons why people are agitated?
From that perspective, yes. But don't forget that we have a global economic recession. Don't forget that until recent, what was the pump price of petroleum products, the crude oil, for instance? Nigeria was totally down. What was our production capacity? Nigeria was down. Don't forget that under this outgoing administration, at the time, the crude oil was selling for $10, $5. So over the years, in the last few
You don't feel
Then
that
COVID came?
there's a failure of the political system in Nigeria that is causing the anger?
I do not
And
believe
increasingly,
absolutely.
maybe, okay, so let's
Now, he is a senator from Kogi State. He was the one who kicked out the popular comedian, ex-senator. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Dino Milaye. Well, as it is, he has made it clear he's APC member. He said it clearly that this election is one of the best that he has ever seen. He said the lack of circulation of cash to induce, and also the introduction of beavers, even though the argument out there is that the beavers were not electronically transmitted. So what is the use of the beavers if the results were not sent down to INEC's database? Now, there are also certain individuals who have raised some concerns. They have raised this argument. They claimed that INEC database server was brutally attacked, brute force, that certain individuals wanted to manipulate the results by getting access into INEC server. And when INEC realized this, they decided to change their pattern. And according to the policy, the constitution, the laws that backs up INEC as an institution in Nigeria, the mode of transmission is left to INEC to decide upon. Now, when you look at all of this, we have to begin to look at rules and regulation policies that back up INEC. We have to look deeper into it. Legislators need to begin to work more on how certain lacunas, some niche have been created for certain things to be done. I know that a lot of people have interpreted it. They said enough is enough. They don't want, but screaming and shouting for nothing makes you an empty drum. You have to be specific. You have to be precise. You have to know what you want to get and how you want to go about getting it. It's very important. People have said the mandate of Peter Obi have been stolen. I do not have any argument against that, because it is likely that it was stolen, and it is also possible that he didn't win the election. People say there are evidences out there, here and there. We can speak about this and that evidence, but what I know is that a lot of youth got angry and they said to themselves, we do not want these people anymore. We do not want these people anymore. And I'm talking about the old cargoes. I'm talking about the previous parties, APC, PDP, and the rest. They say we don't want them. We want a new government, and we believe that Peter Obi can give us this. This has always been what we all know. But then we also need to consider percentage of people who came out to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's truth. We need to consider those that came out to vote for him also. It's not as if the whole of Nigeria voted for Peter Obi. No, not all of Nigeria voted for Peter Obi. There are people, you need to go to villages. You need to go to places where they are still tribal in their mode of thinking. They will never vote for Peter Obi for no reason at all. This is how it works. So these are very complex. But then that does not mean that APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, won the election. Never at all. But you heard what he said. He said this election we should, kind of celebrate the man who came up with the idea. Coming up with the idea is good. He came up with the idea of beavers, but was it used as it's supposed to be used? That is also another question. We cannot just begin to talk foolishly, say one person did not win, that person won. No, we have to be precise. Let us look at all of the angles. But they talk about breaking up of Nigeria in a violent way, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be inaugurated. And also questions on if the tribunal, the court hearing, will be fast-tracked so as to come to a conclusion on who won or who did not win, with the enormous proof and evidences that Labour Party claim they have. This also have to be looked into. It has to be in the constitution that if there is some anomalies, it doesn't have to only do with presidential election. Any election in Nigeria, if there are anomalies, it has to be taken to the court, to the tribunal, and the tribunal has to be fast-tracked before the swearing in of whoever. You cannot swear people in when there are errors on ground, when it is not clear that the person won. This is not right. But I don't know what your thoughts are as regards this. I want us to kind of dig deeper. I want us to break these things into pieces, because this will live with us for a very long time. According to him, you hear what he said. He said, well, slowly as the month fade off, People are beginning to settle. Simply put, Nigerians are simply accepting what it is and there is no noise. Are we going to continue like that? Because these guys have taken time to study everyone. I'm talking of politicians. They know how you react, you raise the dust, and that is it. We need to be very focused. We need to be very focused in everything we do, because these people do not have any permanent friendship, only permanent interest. We also need to have our own collective permanent interest, and that interest is progress, equity, justice. What are your thoughts? Put it in the comment section. Like, share this video, subscribe if you're new here. See you in the next.
I say a very big thank you to those who have taken time to subscribe to this channel, and if you're yet to subscribe, kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red bell icon so you will be notified whenever videos such as this are uploaded.